Hey there, guys. How are you doing? How is everybody going? Welcome to today's boot camp. We are talking about how to scale your income and remove yourself. I'm extremely excited about this. So if you are watching, hello, welcome. Hey, Bhavesh, how you doing? Good. I'm going to assume that means that people can hear me okay. I think I've just checked it. Awesome. Glad to hear you. Fantastic as well. Don't worry too much about this right now. We're going to cover it. I know it looks very complicated, but we are going to go through it. I'm also going to give you the link to the image for this so that you can fill it in. But it's pretty simple. As you can see, it's x-axis, y-axis. I forget which way they're around. X, Y, whatever. Up, down, horizontal, vertical. Got a line, 5 segments. And we've got a bit of gubbins around the outside, but I promise you, this is going to make an enormous amount of sense by the time we get through it. So if you're watching via Facebook or YouTube, say hello in the comments. I've got a comment here already. Hey, Victoria, how you doing? Excited? Good, me too. I'm glad to hear that. If you're watching the replay, put Bootcamp in the comments. That just helps me know whether we're reaching a replay audience. The previous one has done, hundreds of views already, which is great. And also give this a little share as well, because there might be other funnel builders out there who really should be watching this, but they haven't got around to checking it out. What we're talking about today, as you can see here, scale your income and also removing yourself from the business to an extent. My goal for a long time has been to help marketing agencies, funnel builders, freelancers, or anyone within that kind of space, service industry and digital creatives especially, remove themselves from the outdated, crushing constraints of an outdated an outdated agency model. Hey, Mike, I love this stuff and learn more each time I hear it. Thank you so much, Kate. I'm glad to hear it. Well, as a member of the coaching group, but we run a private coaching thing. If people are interested, just hit me up. You guys have been instrumental in helping me structure stuff like this. So I'm massively appreciative of the feedback you guys give me. Hey there, whoever said, oh, hey, how you doing, man? How's it going? Hey, guys. Cool. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, scaling your income and also removing yourself from work. I think there's also an element of understanding what to do within your business. A lot of us have a singular product and we say, well, I build marketing funnels, or I build websites, or I do email marketing. And as you know, I'm a firm believer that you need to have a niche first. If you don't have a niche, that's fine. You can still use this. In fact, it might actually give you some insight as to the type of business you want to work with. The problem, though, is attracting leads, attracting sales, converting those leads into sales, doing the work, doing it at scale. We always go through that kind of peaks and troughs cycle where we do a ton of marketing, go to a ton of networking events, pick up some work, but then we do all the work and we drop all of the sales and marketing work, and we kind of have to go in that vicious cycle. So a big segment of this, in fact, this here is really the only piece that you're going to be involved with in delivering to the customer. Hey, Ignatius, glad you're with me. Thanks, mate. So let's talk through this canvas. It looks like a lot of information. We're going to be filling some of it out. There is actually a web link that I'm going to share with you guys in a minute where you can download an image of this. We're probably going to get this tidied up and graphicked and stuff, so it does turn into a proper canvas. But this is what I've been using recently to kind of take some of my private coaching clients through and some of my one-on-one coaching clients. You might recognize this from last week's bootcamp, where I talked about the hidden revenue opportunities. So along the bottom here, we've got our price points. We've got free, low value, core value, recurring revenue, and high value or high ticket price-wise. I've also given you some examples of some actual prices here of what you should be charging. And this doesn't matter. I don't care how experienced you are, how old you are, the time you spent on the market, whereabouts you're based in the world. None of that matters. These are all the types of prices that you should be charging. And then along the side here, we've got basically the value. This is the journey that the customer goes on. We've got right here from where they want to basically escape, they want to get out of here, and this is basically where they want to reach. Some of you might have seen me use this model before, where we talk about, from start to finish and the steps in between. That's kind of what we're doing along the side here. And then as we go through this process, obviously, the more money that the customer spends, the further along the journey they get, the more value they get. That's not to say that this stuff is less valuable. It's extremely valuable. Helping someone get, 50% of the way, 60% of the way, 70% of the way is still extremely valuable. And in some of these cases, you'll actually help them take the full journey. It just might take them a little bit longer. I think where we'll start is, which is what I call the customer journey, which is really the problem that you're solving and the journey that you're taking the customer on. You don't build marketing funnels. You don't build email marketing. You're not a marketing strategist. What you do is help someone escape a series of problems and reach a better destination. In the past, I've kind of likened it to, if you had people who were escaping a prison or something, or like a work camp, or they wanted to escape a particular area and they need to get through this jungle to El Dorado or to the promised lands right at the end. What you're going to help them do is give them a map. You're going to give them a process because you've done this before, or you understand the way that they're going to get there. So before we've even started looking at our canvas, we need to look at the customer. And there's 3 significant areas that we need to fill out. First of all, what are they escaping? Secondly, what are they reaching? Where are they going to? And thirdly, who are they? So this is the niche in the middle. That middle part, the niche, is perhaps the most important. And if you want to go ahead, and let me bring the canvas up. Actually, no, I'll do that later. Because it's basically as it is here. So you could go ahead and kind of really quickly draw this line, and these lines here, and divide it into 5 segments, and you'll pretty much have exactly what I'm going to share with you. So the niche area here, let's say in our example, this is who we work with. Because remember, who you work with is more important than what you do. It's critical that you define your business by the markets that you serve and the people that you work with before you define it as the products that you deliver. So in here, I'm going to say that we work with independent people to do with wealth. So maybe they're a consultant or an IFA or an IPA or something like that. Basically, people who help you manage money, help you manage wealth. We're not going to go too much into the depth of that. Needless to say, they're obviously in the service industry, as is, whatever it is. I think in my book, it's like 60% of the world's workforce work in the service industry. So they tend to work one-on-one. They have maybe a small team, like an admin assistant. They're basically selling their knowledge and expertise. They're selling their insight. Their biggest problem is that they don't have a regular lead generation system. They're constantly relying on referrals. So what are they trying to escape? These are things they're trying to fix, things they're trying to change, things they're sick of, things they don't want to work with anymore. So the way that the thing that they're trying to escape is maybe lead drought. Lead drought is a really common problem for a lot of businesses. It's basically during a time like this, time of recording, coronavirus, lockdown, big market correction coming, people tend to tighten onto their wallets. They also tend to rely on referrals. And I've heard a lot of businesses say, well, I don't have a lead generation machine because I have lots of referrals. If you're generating tons of awesome referrals, fantastic. The only thing I would say is that it's very difficult to increase that. You can control it, but I'd rather also grow an audience and control the lead management on my side. But also, if you work with $500 customers and you want $5,000 customers, if you only work with $500 customers, you're only going to get referrals for $500 customers. So sometimes it's a case of breaking free of that. Another thing is they basically work 12-hour days. They're sick and tired of working every single day, all throughout the weekend. They're never able to remove themselves from work. And you might be thinking, well, leads is really the only thing I can work with. And that's not true. Not at all. As a funnel builder and as a marketer, your main job will be productivity and effectiveness. It will be efficiency in the workplace and efficiency in their business before it's generating leads and sales. Most people, when they employ a marketing strategy, are actually looking for productivity rather than leads. Most businesses don't want more leads or more sales. They say they do, but they don't want more leads and more sales because they know it's more work. However, if you make an effective sales and marketing strategy for them that actually removes them from having to follow that process, they're going to be working fewer hours and end up going to be happier, even though you haven't actually directly affected their sales and marketing. There's an enormous amount that you do to do with productivity. So that's where they want to escape. Lead drought, they're sick of relying on referrals and they work too many days. Here's where they want to reach. They want to take a holiday. They'd like to hire someone as well. And they'd like higher value customers. That's basically what they're looking for. So right now, where they want to escape, things they want to fix, things they want to change, things that are broken, things they want to remove themselves from, the current situation they want to remove themselves from, and where do they want to reach? They want to take some time off, and that classic thing of, well, if I take a holiday, I end up having to pay for it twice because I have to pay for the holiday and I also miss out on all the income that I'm making. They want to hire someone to take on some of that work for them and grow their business, and perhaps they also want to hire value customers. This is just an example. You guys have got your own process for this. You guys have got your own niche. And I've got tons of videos and courses and training, of course, on that as well. Next up, we have our process. Now, these are basically the steps that you would take someone on in order to escape where they are now and to reach where they need to get to. These are the steps that they're going to have to take. And again, we've got examples, but these are pretty much the big, broad milestones. This is not necessarily something that you're going to come up with from day one. This is an iterative process. I, for example, have the 6 A's from 5-figure funnels in Universe Fuel. I also talk about the different areas of your business that you need to get in balance. This is your step-by-step process, and typically you want to have about 3, I'd say over 3, but 3 to 7 steps. Between 5 and 7 is the real sweet spot. So 5, 6, or 7 steps. And in this case, I've got 7 steps. And again, this is just as an example, but I want to say, what's the first thing that they need to fix or achieve or do or have in order to start making progress to where they want to get to this final land? Where do they want to get to? What's the first thing? And it might be, in this particular case, they need to basically understand why they're working so many hours. So this is basically measuring their productivity, right? Measuring what they do every single day. Next up would be to look at perhaps where they're currently generating leads. So this is their current lead gen process. Here we go. And then step number 3, and again, we're kind of just making this up as we go along. Step number 3 would be putting into place a new offer. So for those of you who are really into your branding, this is kind of a good one for you guys. And then step number 4 would be to start attracting an audience. Step number 5 would be to put in place some kind of automation for some part of it. And again, this is not only iterative, but this is literally my first draft. If you guys have got a process, this is what we want to talk through. Step 6 is maybe qualifying and identifying people that we should be looking at. This is getting towards those high value customers. So away from lead drought, away from relying on referrals, up to those lead counts. And number 7 is actually hiring someone. So that's our process. Those are the steps that we need to take. I really want to clear something up. If you work with, let's say that you work with, okay, all right. A friend of mine, she works for a non-profit organization, and she specializes in working with British freshwater eels. The British freshwater eel is actually more endangered than the panda. Okay. In the UK, we eat some pretty disgusting food, eels being one of them. In New Zealand, we're kind of used to eating eels, and they're actually pretty tasty. But in the UK, the 6 species of freshwater eel are more endangered than pandas, but no one knows about that and no one cares about it. So her biggest problem is educating the world, and particularly people in the UK, on these eels, right? That's a very specific niche. Okay, that's hyper specific. Imagine me trying to help someone in that specific area love a creature basically that everyone thinks is ugly, gross, and slimy. All right. I don't care how niche your market is. Chances are the things they want to escape, the place they want to reach and the process to get there is probably going to be pretty similar. So if you write yours out, if you go, oh, they want to escape lack of cash flow, uncertainty around the business, and they want to escape working a 9 to 5, and then where they want to get to is they want more exposure, they want more sales, benefactors, whatever, revenue, and they want to spend more time doing the things they love. And the process they need to get there is understanding where they are, understanding where they want to get to, creating a plan, implementing that plan, and then securing the plan. You go, oh my God, I've literally written out every single book I've ever read. There's a hint in that. Most processes for people's lives, to improve people's lives, are pretty similar. There's not a massive amount of differentiation between the guys. Mike Michalowicz, who I love. I adore Mike Michalowicz. I've reread Clockwork a billion times. I love 4-Hour Workweek. I love Oren Klaff's Pitch Anything. I love $1 Million Consulting. I'm just looking at the books that I've got here. Ultimate Sales Letter, Cashvertising, Breeding Gazelles, Cash Flow Quadrant, Built to Sell. There are enormous overlaps in all of those processes. It doesn't matter. Why? Because we don't define our business by the process we have. We define it by the market that we go after. If we specifically to say to wealth advisors, or my friend who basically helps protects eels, we say what we help you do is we help people who generate wealth and manage wealth and educate their customers around wealth to escape lead drought, stop relying on referrals, and stop working 12-hour work weeks. And what we help them do is basically take a paid holiday per year, a 4-week holiday per year, hire their first productive member of team of their staff, and hire their first high-value customer, or take on their first high-value customer. That's really, really specific to them. So that does become specific through putting it through the lens of who they are, especially their problems. Even if you think, my God, it's the same problems, it's the same thing, it's the same process as everybody else, that doesn't matter. Good. So I hope that helps. Inside each one of these initial stages, we have tasks. So you might call them steps or milestones or stages, doesn't really matter. But inside that, you've got individual tasks. So these are the things that you actually do. So inside the task of measuring your hours might be literally opening up an Excel spreadsheet, and measuring what it is that you do every day. It might be keeping a diary. It might be creating what I've called in the past a stop list. Doesn't matter. And again, you're going to have between 3 to 7 different tasks per step. A lot of people say, well, how big is a step? How big is a task? I'm going to leave that up to you. We, in my business, have processes that are pages long for creating a single landing page, and we have processes that are pretty high level and a few bullet points for determining our entire content schedule. What you really want to think about is if someone went through those steps and you were able to clump them together into 5, 6, or 7 broad stages, would they get there? Don't worry about going into the absolute minutiae detail. That's not for the customer. They don't care about that. But if you can get them from where they need to get to, from where they need to escape to where they need to get to in about 5 to 7 stages, that's good. If you're thinking, my God, my process is like 22 big broad stages, chances are you're trying to take them too far. You're trying to take them too far into the future, and you're better off really refining that down. You can always continue this journey later on with the high profit stuff, but when it comes to keeping it simple, you really want to make sure that you can really easily identify the 3 big problems they want to fix, the 3 big results or benefits that they want to achieve, and the 5, 6, or 7 stages. And then in each stage, you want to have about 5, 6, or 7 tasks. In the past, I've called this a 6 by 6, but it could be a 5 by 7, could be a 7 by 7, could be a 7 by 5. It doesn't really matter. On the details. So now we're actually going to get into the part where we're going to start removing you from doing this within your business, planning this out. We're going to talk a bit about content, products, pricing, recurring revenue. And take a sip of Snipe Bite there. Cool. So we've got all these tasks now within each one of our stages. And now we've got these 5 areas. Now, some of you might recognize this as essentially a funnel, right? You have your content here. This is the free stuff, right? At the top, You have your initial products, you have your core products, you have your recurring revenue and your high value stuff, and you basically move people through that process, okay? So what I'm going to do, however, is we're going to split this up and turn it into a bit more of a canvas. Can you recommend a tool for documenting and storing my processes? Yeah, I just use Quip. Amazing. I'm actually using their t-shirt right now. Quip is a documentation. It's kind of halfway between Slack and Google Docs. Process Street is also very, very good, Victoria. However, it's kind of overkill for a smaller business. Truth be told, the best type of process that you can create is one that is created. So even if you just use Google Docs and store it as, you know, Word docs or Google Docs with screenshots and images, that's as complex as you need to get. That's really as complex. In fact, some of my best-selling products are actually basically just a series of Google Docs and worksheets, so it doesn't need to be complicated. I use Quip. Process Street is very good, but it could be overkill. Google Docs is probably fine for most businesses. So our job now is basically to move people through this process. Here's the big problem. Most funnel builders like yourself are stuck in this area here, which I would call the core product area. You're not charging enough. You're putting your time. There's this weird thing where people are like, well, if the customer buys from me, they expect to work from me. No, they don't. Who's ever said that to you? If they have said that to you, you go, great, you can work with me. It's just going to cost you 5 figures. There's absolutely no reason why you as the funnel builder or the business owner should be delivering the work to the customer. The biggest problem is that you are stuck in this area here, but it is not profitable. What you want to do is say, yeah, I'll gladly work with someone, but it needs to be up here. Everything else is going to be done by someone or something else. If you have literally no idea how to do that, hopefully this canvas is going to push you through that part of that process, but also my book, From Single to Scale, might be able to help you with that. So we're going to start here with the content. I think a lot of people struggle with what type of content do I create, what type of content, even if I'm an agency, do people really want to read this content? The easiest way of thinking about this is I've split this into 3 kind of areas. We have time scales along the top. We have kind of, I don't know, requirements for the product or content. And then we have actual prompts for what you're going to be creating. So for your content, immediacy is the key. Your customers, when they're searching for you, or your leads or your audience, when they're searching for you or when they come across you, they want to solve a problem right now. They want to fix something right now. Now, whether that actually does fix it or not is almost irrelevant. In a big part, what they want to do is they want to understand something right now. I want to understand, can I fix my laptop right now? I might not be able to do it right now, but when I'm searching for content at the start of this process, I want clarity on it right now. I want clarity immediately. So I want you to think about what are the things that you could give people clarity, confidence, overview of right now. It also helps people plan stuff. This is a really good way of using content, is planning something. Here's a pro tip. You've got your 7 tasks here, or your 7 stages and your tasks in between it. If you were to say, I'm going to help independent wealth advisors who advise their customers on saving and spending, managing money, escape the concept of lead drought, relying on referrals and working 12-hour workdays. And here's how to take your first paid holiday, hire your first member of staff, and go to move to a high-profile customer. Write out 500 words on each one of these stages. You don't have to go into each one of the tasks. 500 words on each one of those stages. That is a really high-level overview of the plan and will help them understand right now how to get from A to Z. That's what you want to focus on. Really high-level, easy stuff. You'll also help them find or solve something. So this is something that they're trying to understand or look for. SEO is still a massive part, but what I have found is that the same keywords that I go for, like best sales technique or how to sell SEO, these are my examples, how to sell SEO. And if I was helping these guys, you know, it'd be like how to take a paid holiday as an IFA or as a wealth advisor, or if you work 12 hours a day for yourself, here's how to hire your first member of staff. If I create content that is searchable and that people could find, and that, you know, those keywords and titles are clearly orientated towards search, like how do I hire my first member of staff, they also do really well for paid content. They do really well for paid advertising, pushing it out via YouTube or Facebook ads or promotion somehow. So there's a big overlap between the types of content. What a lot of people do is they make the mistake of creating content for people who are pretty much at the same level as them. And you need to create what I call dumb content. Now, this is not necessarily content that means your audience is dumb. It means that you're dumb. All right, you're a dummy. What are you going to teach people? All right, you know barely anything. What are you going to teach them? Right at the bottom here, we have people who have literally no idea what the problem is, what their symptoms are. They are completely brand new to this. They don't even know that there is a problem. In the middle, the biggest part of this, the biggest segment of the market is the beginner market. Now, the beginner market is searching for problems. They're searching for solutions. The reason this makes up such a huge segment of the market is even someone who's gone from like no idea through to potentially purchasing can still be considered a beginner. Typically, if someone is searching for like webcam review or best camera lens to use, if we're talking about our wealth advisors, like the best website for wealth advisors, best type of website, best WordPress theme, that suggests that they are beginning to use, or they're beginning to search for a product they want to buy. They could still be a beginner though. It doesn't mean they're an expert by any stretch of the imagination. They're just further down that purchase journey. That's why I like the beginner market, because it actually takes up an enormous segment. What we tend to do is we tend to focus on the expert market because we undervalue our own knowledge. We say, well, what I need to do is basically talk to independent wealth advisors about the email automation campaign that they should be building. Why? These guys are still working 12-hour days and they rely on referrals. Email marketing is way, way, way into the future. You need to start telling them, here's how to make sure that your day is more productive. Here's how to just start taking off 2 hours a day and still being as effective. Here's why working 12 hours a day is killing you rather than helping you. Here's what's broken with your current lead generation system, why you shouldn't rely on referrals. So we talk about, we want more of these guys, a little bit of the no idea, but it's not as much. We want to focus on the beginners, the people who are beginning that journey, people who realize they want to escape something. So we want to help them understand, here's one thing, is your A to Z process. Okay, really easy, A to Z process, and just talk about this process here. By the way, I believe all businesses should have like a 10 to 20,000 word blog post, like a huge monster killer, definitive, ultimate guide blog post. This process makes a beautiful template for that. The next thing is, what are the really simple things that they could solve and understand right now? So why your referral process is broken, maybe. And remember, all we're doing is repeating back to them stuff that they know already. Why your referral process, why you shouldn't be working 12-hour days as a financial advisor. Next up, I want to talk about really hyper scalable products. Some people call these tripwires, some people call them splinter products. Sorry guys, I've got a couple of questions here. Can I use the 5-figure funnels for myself? Not entirely sure. Do you mean the book 5-figure funnels? Because yeah, but when you say 5-figure funnels, not entirely sure what you're referring to. Can I use ClickFunnels to get started building funnels and move to WordPress over time? You can do. I just don't see the point. I'd rather get started with WordPress right now and move myself out of that paid ecosystem personally. I'd rather use something that I've got control over immediately. And also, you shouldn't be building the funnels. You should be hiring someone else to do that for you. That's the exact problem I was talking about at the start, is you're stuck in that core process, that core model, and you're talking about the tools. Sorry, Deepak, I don't mean to pick on you, but this is a really common problem. Being focused on the tool is irrelevant. I don't care what you use. You shouldn't care what you use, because your customers sure as hell don't care what you use. Can I use 5-figure funnels for myself to make money for myself? There's no real reason why I would have published. Do you mean the book? I'm really sorry, I can't see your name or anything. Are you referring to the book? Because the book is literally designed to help you generate revenue for 5 figures. And I know you've made a comment about why I don't like sales funnels or something, so we'll talk about that in a bit. Really sorry. Go into a bit more detail into your question, and I'll answer it as best I can. So next up, we've got scalable products. Some people call these tripwires, some people call them splinter products. The reason I like these is that the more products you have of this makes it actually easier to sell products down the line, because businesses with a product ecosystem look more professional. There's no business in the world that makes money from one product. Businesses make money from their product ecosystems. The term ecosystem is a bit like, I'm not entirely too keen on that, but the reality is just having one product, one service is never going to help your business. Instead, what I want you to do is focus on something, a task, or one of the results that your customers can fix in 1 hour to 1 afternoon. So what's that, from like 1 till 4, like 3-4 hours, something like that. What I want them to focus on is a template, a canvas, or a swipe file. So you could take things that they've understood, that they've planned, and then you could let them do something. Ultimately, this is the stage where they themselves do it. Price points, you want to be looking around $20 to $200. You want to test a few bits and pieces. I would argue that my books are absolutely, tripwires or splinter products. We've got loads of little products. As an agency, we had dozens of products. We had templates, we had files, we had systems, we had trainings, we had processes ourselves. So it might be, and remember, this here is not a coincidence, up to about stage 3 or 4, stage 2 or 3 is where you want to be focusing on. So the first immediate 3 stages, the first few tasks, maybe you've got a process for how they can measure their hourly rate, or their hourly work process, and you've got a system for helping them get through that. Maybe an example as well. You've got an example of a lead process that works. Things like case studies, things like interviews, deep dives, exploratory areas where you've just got a file and you go through what a really typical business looks like and what it could look like. This is all stuff that you've got already, you just aren't selling it. Last week I talked about how your customers want to buy products from you, but you're refusing to do it because you won't put this stuff together. If you put together a suite of products, 2 or 3 products ranging from 20 to 200, there's no hard and fast rules as to why one thing is 200 and one thing's 20. Put it out there. If no one buys it, change the price, all right? Put it up, put it down, doesn't really matter. Another thing is a file. Chances are you have a worksheet, or you have a template, or a canvas, or a swipe file, or something that they could use. One of the ones we used for insurance companies was pretty much just an Excel spreadsheet that showed them how many leads they could generate from their current blog traffic. So they put in their current blog traffic per month, and it calculated roughly per year and per day. And then we said, okay, put in 2 offers, like what would be the things that you'd want to give away. And we say, assuming one of them converts at 3.5, one of them converts at 1.2%, which is roughly what we had, that calculated that you would generate 10 leads a day, 100 leads a month, or whatever it might be. That was just a really quick thing that they could do in an hour or an afternoon. So the pricing there for a scalable product is between $20 and $200. And you want to think, well, what's something I could help them do in 1 hour or 1 afternoon? A file might be something you already use. It might be a template, or it might be like an actual, like a process that you've got already, or a document or something like that. An example might be like some emails. So you could just say, look, these are the last 20 emails that we sent to customers. These are the 3 sales pages that we built for customers. And you can just rip these off. These are the last 3 sales pages we built for customers. There's stuff you've got already. People want clarity, and they want to do something within the hour or within an afternoon. Next up, again, time-wise, this is our core product. This is where we're going to solve something for them from a week to 3 months. A week is a bit short, but it is possible to do that, to put together something within a week. I guess, you could say that very basically putting a kitchen together, if I hired someone to come in and redo our kitchen, would take about a week, whereas 3 months might be some educational process, or maybe redecorating more of the house. I don't know. The key point here is that you want to have £1,000 or $1,000 profit margin. The price is almost irrelevant because it's the profit margin that's important. There's nothing wrong with charging 5 grand. I don't have a problem with people charging $5,000 if it's profitable. If you charge $5,000 and you do all the work, you, the business owner, are stuck doing the work, then it's not profitable. You think, yeah, but I'm making that money for yourself. No, you're not. And if you're making the money, you basically own a job. Ironically, you've got the same problem as these guys. So instead, what I want you to do is think about what's something that you can support. For example, courses, training, turnkey solutions, really easy, software. If I was starting from scratch, what I would do is I would create a ton of content around this process. I would create a series of templates and files helping with perhaps the first couple of stages. So I would have, here's my lead generation process as a template. It's just a Word document or a Google Doc. You can go in and fill in the blanks. I've also got a process and some training, a couple of free little products on how to measure your hourly progress or whatever it is. The big problem, however, is that I would take someone through this and get them to do it themselves. So the big problem is basically, in this particular case, how to eliminate lead drought for wealth advisors. And it doesn't matter if it's a course, if it's training, if it's turnkey or whatever, because I would build up a list of paying customers for these parts of the process. I'd say, now we're basically releasing this turnkey solution. You'll just put in your information. It's basically going to be a full website. It's going to be this part of the funnel. It's going to be this part of your content solution. It's going to be this part of the process or whatever. I'm not going to touch it. We've got staff or team. We've got a process. It's a copy and paste system. And I would sell that to people, but way before putting together any like massive projects. This here doesn't have you involved in it. You don't build it, right? You don't create it. That's not exclusively true. If you did the course, you would want to do that. What I mean is you don't deliver it. You support it, but you don't deliver it. I don't deliver my courses. Access Ally delivers my courses, right? I don't deliver a lot of my coaching. Technically, Zoom does a lot of it, and then we record it, and it's pushed out again via Access Ally. So it's basically, you're not delivering it. I should say no you delivery. That's some really good English there. No you delivery. I want you to think about the really big problem they've got, the biggest problem. It might not even be all of them. It might not be every single problem here. It might be that you only want to focus on lead drought, or maybe breaking that referral machine. It might be that you think, actually, my marketing process is going to help you work fewer hours. Software is expensive to build, but it's a really good core product if you can build it. Turnkey solutions as well. Matthew Rodella from Turnkey Websites is a great resource for that. How much time we got? 37. Awesome. By the way, guys, if you've got questions, throw them in the chat. I'm confusing whether my agency should focus on messenger funnels versus email funnels. Well, Deepak, who's the niche? First three questions. Who's the niche? What's the problem? Where do they want to get to? Don't ask me whether you should focus on emails or chatbots. It's irrelevant. You're focusing on the features there. Your customers don't care. If you haven't had anyone exclusively say, I 100% want to focus on email marketing, great. Then that's a pretty good example of the thing that you should be going after. Don't ask me. Ask your customers, and also ask yourself, which one of them do you care about? I personally hate messenger bots, so I would work on email marketing. I'd rather find a niche for email marketing because I enjoy working with it. The niche isn't profitable. It's your dedication to the niche. May I ask, if you're not delivering, what's the support part of the column? Yeah, so when I say support, I mean, what you could do is extremely scalably. Let's say you created a course or some kind of product, and then you had a private Facebook group, and that just gave support around the product. Or maybe if someone was, turnkey, all you do is you help them through that part of the process. It's more a case of the support aspect is really what they're buying. They want support around their journey. The course is the thing that they're buying. You might also want to call that community, maybe, is another kind of area that you might, another word for that, a synonym for it. So it's support or community. That's actually what they're buying in a core product. I've bought multiple, 10 grand training packages, and yes, the content's useful, the workbooks are extremely useful, the speakers are inspiring, but actually what's continued is the community and the outreach that I'm able to have throughout that process. If you created a process here and you said, I'm going to help you eliminate lead drought, and we've got this 6-step process, or you go through all of that, or maybe you just blow out this one here and you just like basically scale that out, or maybe you just focus on, you know, these 3 here, or these 5, whatever it is, and you massively just focus in on that there. And it might be that, you know, the private Facebook group, the members area, they get email support from you, whatever. There's a ton of different areas. I've created an 8,000 word killer blog post and I've defined my niche. Awesome, going to spread it all of my network. I would very highly, any of the advice you can give me related to referrals. I'll talk about that in a bit, Bhavesh. Cool, so that's your core product. 1 week to 3 months roughly. Next up, 6 months plus. This is our recurring revenue product. 6 months plus is where you want to start thinking, I want to start giving them massive results within 6 months, but also continuing on that process. It might be that a recurring revenue product, they don't see immediate benefits. If we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it might not be that they see immediate benefits within the first 3 months, but after kind of around 0.6, that's when they start to see benefits. That's fine. That's 100% fine. Things have to stack up. When we moved hosting, originally I was having problems and I didn't really notice the difference until about month 5, month 4, month 5, month 6, month 7 and onwards, where I was like, oh, I have less downtime, I have less 404 errors, I have less redirects, I have fewer redirects because my hosting's improved. It's not necessarily something that's going to give them immediate benefits, but it's something that over time it will stack up. That's why recurring revenue can be very difficult, because I think people feel they have to give immediate benefits. And of course, the customer wants to feel like they've made the right decision immediately, and they want to feel like they've got benefit as quickly as possible. But recurring revenue products really start to stick when past the 4, 5, 6 month mark. That's when they become invaluable. A lot of businesses do it the other way around, and they make something super invaluable at the start, and then over time, the value of it drops off. It's because people are like, well, we've got to give all of this stuff up front. And I'm like, well, if I keep paying for it, but I'm not continuing to get value from it, doesn't really matter. That's why hosting makes more money recurring revenue wise than a lot of courses, because a lot of courses will say, oh, we're $19 a month and you continue getting access to the course. It's like, well, why would I do that? I've got immediate benefit right up front, but over time that value drops off. Digital marketer, on the other hand, they release new courses, new coaching, and new products all the time. So you want to make sure that it becomes sticky around the 6 month mark as a sweet spot, as an example. Price wise, $200 to $600 per month is what you want to be looking at. If this was all about support and community, this is mainly about security. It's mainly about security and convenience. A big part of recurring revenue is based around time. The reason I repeatedly pay for a lot of content generators and copywriting software and copywriting courses, digital marketer courses, hosting, is because I know that I want security, not just around the process itself. I'm happy to pay $150 a month for whatever it is we have, our hosting or our email automation, because it's secure, but I'm also secure in the knowledge that I've got that going forward. I don't have to worry about it because I know it's going to be there and it's going to work for me in the future. It's also way more convenient for me to be able to pick it up, jump into any kind of educational courses. I mean, it blows my mind that no one really cares about this. Like, there's so many products and courses that are out there that I can jump in and I can get taught by some of the best and brightest marketers, copywriters, salespeople in the world at my convenience. Literally, it's never happened before. It had to be books or audio recordings. They even had them on like LP records that you put on, like motivational speeches and stuff. But now I can just jump in. So there's a massive amount of convenience there and security. I know that some of the products and things that I've bought in the past allow me to have access to that. So I want you to think about a couple of price points around here. I want you to think about a couple of products, maybe one at the 197 and maybe one at, let's say, 497. And you think, well, what would I give for $497 a month? They get access to me, maybe they get a bit of coaching, access to one of our experts, a live call every week. I don't know, right? But think about security, what they want to stop. Convenience and security. And the second aspect is a big part of it is around time. You want to take things off people's plate. A really smart way to position recurring revenue products is seeing what do they want to stop doing. So if they're sick of, and let's say, I don't know, when they're working 12-hour days, what are some of the tasks that they're doing in those 12-hour days? If they're doing referrals, what are some of the tasks they're doing? And it might be referral outreach. And there's no reason why, and again, regardless of how we're doing referrals or whatever, if referral outreach is something they want to escape and they're sick of referrals, why don't we say, well, for $197 a month, we'll take over your referral process for you. We'll outreach people. We've got a system in place and a process. What are they always doing that they know they need to stop doing? This is why it's really important to understand more about your customer. You say, well, they're always having to, I don't know, mess around with ads, respond to customer support. There's no reason why your funnel building agency isn't able to take over customer support from someone. What do they want to stop doing? They want to stop the interview process. All right, in this particular case. And they're always stuck inside the Facebook Ads Manager. All right. And these are just some examples. We say, great, we can put this together, $197 a month, $400 a month, $500 a month, $1,000 a month, doesn't matter. We'll take care of your ads for you. What do they stop doing? They want to stop going through the interview process. They tried hiring again and again and again. You're working 12-hour days, and we go, how about we take care of that for you? You want to stop doing it, we'll take over it for you. There's no reason why, as a marketing funnel business or a funnel agency, bearing in mind we define ourselves by the market we serve, not the products we sell, that you're not able to help them with their interview process. 197, 497, again, between 200 and 600 bucks a month. What would you give for that? What would you give someone if they were giving you 200 bucks every single month? We can talk about scale and stuff, but really that's a big part of it. The second part here, 25K plus minimum 1 year. This is a project that you think, this is going to take at least a year. Now, a lot of funnel projects and a lot of e-commerce websites or whatever, they'll take way less than that, but typically it's a roughly year-long process. It's also roughly a year-long transformation. I don't want you to think about the amount of time it takes you to implement. I want you to think about the type of journey that the customer goes on and how long that transformation process is. Yes, in a lot of cases, the funnel you build will probably actually take you about 1 week to 3 months, right? But the transformation that the customer goes on, the continued qualification, the calls, the education, and chances are there's going to be some maintenance and upkeep after that. But there's no reason why you can't have the total package, which I'm talking about there, for 25 grand. This is where they do get access to you. This is where they absolutely get access to your time, your knowledge, your expertise. And what you're bringing here is structure. I think a lot of people believe that the 25K projects, they're like, well, it's cheeky enough to charge that kind of money. It's insane. Who would want to charge that? But then I'm telling you, actually, this should be your most profitable product. This should be the product that costs you 5 grand to put together, and you have a 20 grand profit margin on. 100%, without a doubt. I want you to think about the models that work that are out there. There's no reason that a customer who's gone through this, maybe they haven't gone through this, maybe they've gone straight to the high ticket product, they're desperate to work with you, they're looking for structure. As I mentioned, that's the important part, is they're actually looking for structure within their life, within their business, within their process, whatever. They look structure, they will gladly pay 25K, 50K, 10K, whatever, 25K minimum really, but 5 figures at least. And they get structure from you. It doesn't mean that you have to build these whole massive systems. You could say, we're going to build you, and I say it's the total package, right? So this is the whole process here. So we'll build you a lead generation offer, which will basically just be all of your blog content moving into a opt-in or squeeze page, which will sell a product and then qualify the customer. And then we'll email them. We'll take care of that for you. We'll also help you with your hiring and your interview process. So how you're going to hire people. We're also going to look at a huge amount of the automation that you're working with. I don't know why I've drawn a flux capacitor there for automation, but this is the structure that you bring. And it doesn't have to be the whole funnel. It can just be the whole process that you want to take them on. It doesn't need to be all of the home pages and all of the email marketing or whatever. It can be hyper specific, solving the core problem here. Roughly a year-long transformation. Cool. Guys, if you've got any questions, so the last thing is let me know in the comments. Next week, here's what I want to do. I want you to head to sellyourservice.co.uk/bootcamp. I'm going to be running week 3 as a private webinar, so you can go ahead and sign up to this right now. What we're going to do is I'm actually going to take you through the 6-letter framework. I talked about those 6 A's that come up a lot in my book, 5-Figure Funnels. The next few months, few years are going to be really tumultuous for a lot of funnel businesses. And what I want to help you do is create a plan that you can repeat and stick to day in, day out. One of our kind of core mantras or values at Sell Your Service is if something is not worth doing once, it's not worth doing 1,000 times, and vice versa. If it's not worth doing 1,000 times, it's not worth doing once. So I want to give you a really, really simple to follow formula for planning out your business. Everything from the content, where you need to focus on the content next, how to structure an offer, how to structure a funnel deal, how to structure your brand, all of this, all done with basically this framework here, A. It's ludicrously simple. It's totally free, but we're just doing it as a registered thing. I've given a ton of information away during these like kind of little open bootcamp sessions. So I just want to do a closed one. If you register for it, what I'm going to take you through is essentially the it's the 6-letter process that shows you exactly how to structure not only your funnel deals, but also what you sell, so the offer as well, and the plan to grow your business. So you'll have something and you'll think, every single day, I know exactly what I'm looking at. It's going to be this time next week, so 3 p.m. UK time, Tuesday, the 15th of September. I want to teach you, part 1 is going to be what to work on every single day to, I say, get fit, stay lean, and see results. That's for your business to be fit, for your business to be lean. Cut away all the fluff, cut away all the gumph, and start seeing results and making sure that every single one of these areas is focused on, is worked on. If you've bought the book, 5-Figure Funnels already, this is going to be a really good kind of next step for that to help you actually build out a plan. Typically, it actually looks a little bit like this. So we've got 3 circles and 6 segments, and we're going to help you move through all of those segments like this. Clear as mud. That's what I want. Even if you're struggling now and you think, well, I don't know what I want to grow, don't worry about that. Come ahead and join us, because I'm going to show you how to discover exactly what you're selling, which is a huge miscomponent. If you've looked at this and thought, okay, I understand the theory of this, I understand the hypothesis of this, I'm going to help you work out exactly what it is that you are selling. It's going to help you a lot with your process, as well as your niche and this part of the journey over here, and a lot of the individual segments there. So go ahead and join that. We're going to be doing a live Q&A. It'll probably be over an hour, probably be about 90 minutes, just to let you know. I'm also going to show you the funnel business game plan, which has helped thousands of funnel builders with their businesses. So that's next week. That's what you can jump to if you head to sellyourservice.co.uk/bootcamp. Awesome. Registered. Glad to hear that. How do we manage the ton of money we're going to make? Accounting software. I use Xero. I actually have a system called Laps, Ignatius, which basically breaks down leads, appointments, presentations, and sales. That's how we typically manage the money that comes through. Because we use Stripe and PayPal, a lot of it's automated. I also have a business manager who I pay to make sure that she reports back to me about that kind of stuff. Interesting. Thank you so much. My question might be a bit dumb, not at all. In that ladder, I want to have an idea where I start to hire. Is it step 1? Looking forward to step 3. So in that ladder, you, Victoria, want an idea where to start hiring. So is this hiring for yourself? This is hiring for your own business. Interestingly, that's kind of an interesting point, is you don't need to hire anyone for this. Stripe, PayPal, and a registration page can do all of this for you. Obviously, you don't necessarily need to hire anyone for this. You probably might want to hire someone around this point, and definitely someone around the 1 year mark. And chances are the recurring revenue is where you want to hire as well. My advice is sell before scale. So sales before scale is what we say, which is I want you to sell the product first and then work backwards. And if you've got the book, 5-Figure Funnels, that talk, this is still 99 cents, by the way, guys, on Kindle. This will take you through that process of when you should start to hire and break down like how much money you've got. Don't necessarily hire straight away and hire first. I'd maybe want you to think about selling it first and then hiring afterwards. Deepak, note, we are working on the audiobook. Obviously, coronavirus put a bit of a dampener on people being able to go into studios and stuff. So we are working on it. I think I'm about a third of the way through maybe of recording it. But recording an audiobook is fucking exhausting. Do you recommend to test a niche before we start with content? Really good point, Thomas. Your niche is going to evolve over time. The 3 most important aspects, which you should know already, are, first of all, is it something that people are willing to pay for? Which is a really easy job. You just go ahead and search whatever it is that you do. And I know you've actually got some content out there, so I'll have a look around. But if it's for wealth advisors on how to generate leads for wealth advisors, I'd search that and see, are people already generating content for it and selling stuff for it? Great. Is it something you absolutely love to do? Is it something you genuinely give a shit about? Because if you don't care about it, it's going to be exhausting. If you think it's exhausting doing a job when you're getting paid, it's a million times more exhausting doing a job when you're not getting paid. So you better love it. And the final thing is, do you have a process for it? Like, are you good at it? I don't know what to do for process. Tick. This is basically, do you have something in place where you're like, yeah, this is something that I can do, I have done in the past. So you want to look for those sweet spots. That's as close as the test as you need to get. The second thing, though, is what I would recommend is making sure that you are open to slight changes. Let's say that you decide to help independent wealth advisors with lead drought, and you realize that a term that comes up a lot is referral valley. The referral valley. It's a marketing model where basically that happens, and there's a period when you first start where people generate referrals, and then there's a huge gap where no one ever generates referrals ever again. And then after a while, you start generating referrals again. Let's say you come across the term, the referral valley, or you create a piece of content that really gets a lot of clicks and views with that keyword in it, then that's maybe where you want to start turning your niche. When I first started, I was helping digital creatives with sales, right? That's, if you go back right to the first blog content and the first YouTube content, the first podcast, it's around helping digital creators with their sales process. And over time, I turned it in, here's how funnel builders can specifically sell a $25,000 funnel. So it refined over time as I continue to create content. So my advice would be to create the content and listen and make sure you're reactive to what people go for. Eddie, do you have any advice on where we get reliable people to do the work for us at various stages? The short answer is yes. First of all, you need to be hyper specific about what it is that you're hiring for. The reason most hires fail is because they're not specific around the exact job role that they're going to be going through. I have found great success with particularly onlinejobs.ph for everything from like building out the funnels to my own virtual assistant. My VA comes from onlinejobs.ph. I'm very reluctant to hire when someone just says, yes, I can do this. I want to make sure that I have a process in place at least. This is why also I don't recommend building out the whole funnel and doing everything. If you were just going to do installing blog posts, what we basically did is I installed the blog post myself. And when I first started, absolutely, I was the only person doing the work, right? Completely understand that. My point is you should be moving away from it. If you take one of those pieces and let's say you just install blog post opt-in forms with a thank you page and a video sales letter, and that's what you do, you package that together and you say, I help people with 100,000 visitors a month generate sales within 20 minutes from a blog post visitor. Creating that process, recording it, using something like Loom, and spending an enormous amount of time training. My colleague Jake says it takes about 3 to 6 months to train someone up to do your process, right? And then they should be able to train you backwards. most people will hire someone, will give them about a month, and then they'll say, this isn't working out, this is garbage, you've clearly overstayed your talent, and they'll move on. And they're going to keep going through that process. This is why it's important to build profit margin into your high ticket and at least your core items, where you're able to say, okay, well, we're not selling 25K projects just yet. We're selling a £3,000 project. It's a course, you know, and a couple of templates and some PDFs. The number one problem right now is support and community. I am responding to a lot of these messages. Chances are they're going to be the same thing. I'll continue to record that. I'll then hire someone from like onlinejobs.ph, for example. I don't have a referral link for anything for that. They just really have helped me out and go through that process with them. You need to spend an enormous amount of time training people up. You have to take that hit for the first 3 months, and eventually they'll become self-sufficient. Eventually they'll get really good at it. Awesome. Hadn't thought about the support, security, structure idea within your products. Well, wouldn't you know, Kate, this is why you're a goddamn genius. I hadn't noticed that it was support, secure, or structure either. I've written this out about 50 times, and not once have I noticed that it has that. So yeah, that's something that we see time and time again. People buy content, but they stay for community or support. What people want with a recurring revenue project is security, 100%. There's other angles, but ultimately they want to be secure in the knowledge that ... they've got access to the best trainers, that they're the best trainers out there, that their website isn't going to go down, whatever. And then structure is absolutely your high ticket product. The link is showing today's date rather than the 15th. The link. Oh, the Zoom link, is it? Let me have a look, Michael. That obviously shouldn't be. I want to talk about hiring people. This is me that did this one. Webinars. I've got Tuesday, 15th of September, Bootcamp Week 3 webinar. As ever, great delivery. Thank you so much. It's all about enthusiasm. I've heard that enthusiasm gives you an extra 25 IQ points. So I'm right at about 100 if I'm really excited about something. Yes, perfect. Sell before scale. Awesome answer. Thank you very much, Victoria. Massively appreciate it. Any advice related to referrals after creating an 8,000 word blog post? Okay, Bhavesh, here's what you want to do, right? First of all, I want you to make a list of every single person that you know, friends, family, old colleagues, work relations, anything, anyone and everyone. And I want you to email them or message them and say, hey, I only work with the niche that is directed at your blog post. I only work with wealth advisors, independent wealth advisors. I only work with businesses that sell a digital product. I only work with authors who have got at least 2 books, whatever that customer focus is. I've just written this blog post on taking them from A to Z, helping them with lead drought, helping them with referral value, helping them with working 12-hour days, whatever. Do you know anyone in this space? Do you know anyone? Your network wants to give you referrals. The reason they don't give you referrals is because when someone says, oh, I'm a really good email marketer, do you have any referrals? I'm like, well, 1, I don't know what type of email marketer you are. And 2, no, why would I know who requires an email marketer? Instead, if you say, oh, I work with businesses who have got blog posts but 0 email leads, go, oh, I know people like that. Who matters more than what you do? Who you work with matters more than what you do. So when you go out for referrals to your immediate network, and you'll know between 100 and 250 people, don't tell them what you do. Don't say, hey, I'm a marketer, I build websites. I really want to work. Do you have any referrals for me? Because it's too broad. It's too much effort on my behalf to think about that. Instead, if you say, I only work with insurance advisors who specialize in family and health insurance. Do you know anyone in that space? Ask about who you want, and then ask for the introduction or ask them to send that content for you. That's really the first step. That's how you want to start pushing that content out there. It's a good question. I appreciate it. Michael, I'll take a look at that. If it wouldn't be a Michael killing process if there wasn't a date wrong or a massive typo somewhere. A couple other questions here. By the way, guys, if you have got questions, in in one of your videos, you said that sales funnels were BS, then why are you promoting them? I don't think I've ever said that a sales funnel is BS. If you want to post that video, I'd love to see the link to that, because I don't think I would have said that sales funnels are BS. What I have often said is that people confuse sales and marketing funnels as a model with sales and marketing funnel software. Those are two completely different things. The sales funnel, the marketing funnel, has been around for hundreds of years. Napoleon Dynamite, I wish. Napoleon Hill, in his book, Think and Grow Rich, originally had a home study course sold at the end of it. He understood that audience acquisition and giving value up front was the way to make a sale later on. We all understand that the easiest way to make a sale is to have a wide pool of audience, help them solve a problem, turn them into leads, turn them into prospects, sell to them, and then continue selling to them. That's a business model that applies to all businesses. Whether or not you're doing it or whether or not you've got one is almost irrelevant. It applies. Whether you've got a financial forecasting model or not, you have to have something in place, right? So it's the model. The difference is sales funnel software. The new one that was just released, I don't even want to say it. I was sick and tired of seeing lifetime deals for funnel software and funnel products, because it all pretty much does the same thing. I absolutely would not heavily invest in individual sales funnels software or marketing funnel software. So if I have ever said that, I'd love to check that out. Post a link, and I'd love to see the video. Maybe it was when I was younger, more naive. Maybe I was drunk. I don't know. But I absolutely believe that the funnel model works extremely well. But funnel software is frankly a massive waste of time. The reason it's a waste of time is because you're putting all of your eggs in one basket. We've repeatedly seen over and over and over and over and over Instagram, Facebook, ClickFunnels, ActiveCampaign, which I use, and I love ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, even WordPress, right? If you put all of your eggs in one basket, they can change the rules. They change the game, and you go, right, well, now I'm done. And it happens, all right? So that's why I don't like marketing funnel software. I also think that they try to do too much. Symantec, a company that I was made redundant from, actually, I was fired from them, basically, back in 2012. The reason their business fucked up and that they plummeted almost overnight is because they tried to be too many things to too many people. Google can't even do that, right? One of the biggest companies in the world, they really struggle with doing everything they want to do. So I don't think that funnel software should try and do everything, because it's impossible. Vimeo, one of the best video hosting companies in the world, struggles with doing video hosting all the time. If they started adding in all these other little features and stuff, they'd fuck it up. ActiveCampaign has just brought out a page builder, for example. I'll certainly try it out and test it out. I'm absolutely not going to put all of my pages on there. Cool. Guys, go ahead and join the training, sellyourservice.co.uk/bootcamp. I will absolutely be posting that out. If you do want the canvas, by the way, that this one here, a blank version, head to sellyourservice.co.uk/canvas. Massively appreciate you hanging out with me for over an hour here. I'm still going to be hanging around in the comments, so comment on Facebook, comment on YouTube. Let me know if this was useful. If you've decided that you want to go after a particular core product or a different product area, I'd love to hear about it. I keep asking questions, or shoot me an email, michael@sellyourservice.co.uk. I'll do my best to get back to you. In the meantime, post in the Facebook group as well. But I will see you next week at sellyourservice.co.uk/bootcamp, where we're actually going to go through the structure for your business and how to survive and endure the next 3 to 6 months. Cheers, guys. Thank you so much. Massively appreciate it. Is it a good idea to put strategy call session as a call to action in the blog post? You try it. Test it. Test it, man. My advice would be don't. I would rather manually follow up with people afterwards, and I would give them something free. Remember that initial free thing, that the lead magnet, as we call it? Give them something for free and then follow up with them later. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Massively appreciate it. I'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone. Bye.